Right now, as you settle into rest, somewhere in a garden nearby, a flower is slowly turning its face toward the last fading light of the sun. In a forest across the world, a tree is sending chemical signals through the air to warn its neighbors of approaching danger. And in the soil beneath a city pavement, roots are reaching toward moisture with a patience that has outlasted civilizations. Plants are not simply decorations in the background of our lives. They are living beings with secret rhythms, hidden communications, and quiet intelligence that science is only beginning to understand. Tonight, let these soothing facts about the secret life of plants carry you gently toward deep sleep. Tonight, we explore the fascinating science of horticulture in this sleep documentary for curious minds seeking rest. From seeds that can wait centuries for the right moment to sprout, to flowers that bloom only in moonlight, to vines that can feel their way toward a distant support, this is the story of how plants live, grow, and communicate in ways that would astonish anyone who takes the time to notice. These are the silent companions that share our world, the patient organisms that have shaped every landscape, every breath of air, every meal we have ever eaten. This is Sleepy Science, where facts become a lullaby and knowledge becomes rest. Welcome to Drowsy Discovery, your Sleepy Science channel for peaceful nights. Over the next 2 hours, over 100 gentle facts about plants and their secret lives will guide you through the green and wondrous realm that surrounds us every day. There is nothing to memorize, nothing to remember. Just listen and let your mind drift into deep sleep. Have you ever wondered how a sunflower knows to follow the sun, or how plants seem to know the seasons are changing before any thermometer could tell them? You are not alone. If this documentary for sleep brings you peace, consider subscribing to join our community of curious minds, and perhaps share these facts to fall asleep to with someone who needs a calm night. Now take a slow breath and let your shoulders ease. Feel the weight of your body sinking softly into stillness, as though you were a seed resting in warm earth, waiting for nothing in particular. The plants have been here for hundreds of millions of years. They will wait patiently for you to fall asleep in their ancient presence. Let us begin. Plants can hear the sound of water and grow their roots toward it. Deep beneath the soil, in the total silence of the earth, roots are listening. Scientists have discovered that plant roots can detect the faint vibrations of water moving through pipes or underground channels, and they will grow steadily toward those sounds even when the soil around them is equally moist in all directions. This is not hearing as we understand it, but a sensitivity to vibration that allows roots to navigate the darkness with remarkable precision, seeking the moisture they need to survive. The mechanism involves tiny specialized cells that respond to acoustic frequencies, translating sound into growth, turning vibration into direction. If you placed a seedling in a maze of soil with water hidden at one end, its roots would find their way as surely as if given a map. The earth hums with signals we cannot perceive, and the plants are always listening. Some seeds can remain dormant for over 1,000 years and still sprout when conditions are right. Within the hard shell of a seed lies a patience that defies our understanding of time. Scientists have germinated date palm seeds recovered from ancient ruins in Israel, seeds that had been resting in dry desert soil for nearly 2,000 years. These seeds carried within them the genetic memory of trees that grew before the Roman Empire reached its height, and when given water and warmth, they remembered how to live. The secret lies in the seed's ability to enter suspended animation, reducing its metabolism to almost nothing, protecting its genetic information behind walls of proteins and sugars. Moisture, temperature, light, and sometimes fire must align precisely before the seed will risk waking. Until then, it waits in darkness, holding the potential for forests within its tiny form. Time means nothing to a patient seed. Sunflowers track the sun across the sky, using an internal circadian clock. Young sunflowers do not simply face the sun, they follow it faithfully, turning their heads from east to west throughout the day, and then resetting themselves overnight to face east again before the next dawn arrives. This movement is controlled by an internal clock that continues to operate even in constant light, proving the sunflower knows the rhythm of the day from within rather than merely responding to external cues. The turning is achieved through uneven growth on opposite sides of the stem, with cells on the shaded side elongating faster than those in light, causing the flower to bend. As plants mature and their stems stiffen, they settle into a permanent eastward orientation, which helps them warm faster each morning and attract more pollinating bees. The dance of the sunflower is a conversation between plant and sky, a ritual older than memory. Plants release chemicals into the air to warn neighboring plants of insect attacks. When caterpillars begin to chew on a leaf, the wounded plant does not suffer in silence. It releases volatile organic compounds into the air, chemical messages that drift on the breeze and are detected by neighboring plants, which then begin to increase the production of defensive chemicals in their own leaves before any insect has even touched them. This is not deliberate communication as humans understand it, but the effect is the same. Information travels through the air, and plants that receive it are better prepared to defend themselves. Scientists have observed this phenomenon in species from tomatoes to willow trees, each with their own chemical vocabulary. The air in a forest or garden is thick with these invisible conversations, warnings we walk through without ever noticing. Plants may be rooted in place, but their voices travel far. The roots of a single tree can extend farther than its branches reach above ground. We see only half of every tree. Beneath the soil, hidden from view, a vast network of roots spreads outward seeking water and nutrients, often extending 2 to 3 times the radius of the visible canopy above. These roots interweave with neighboring trees, forming underground communities that share space and sometimes resources, creating a hidden forest beneath the one we see. The finest root tips, no thicker than a human hair, push through gaps between soil particles, sensing moisture and minerals, adjusting their growth in response to conditions that change from centimeter to centimeter. In some species, a single tree may have hundreds of kilometers of roots if every filament were measured. When you stand beneath a great oak, you are standing above an equally impressive structure that mirrors everything you can see. The tree is an iceberg. Most of it lies below. Some plants can count, waiting for a specific number of triggers before closing their traps. The Venus flytrap does not simply snap shut at the first touch. Inside each trap are tiny trigger hairs, and the plant will only close if 2 hairs are touched within roughly 20 seconds or if a single hair is touched twice. This counting mechanism prevents the trap from wasting energy on raindrops or debris, saving its rapid closure for movement patterns that indicate genuine prey. Scientists have discovered the plant continues counting even after closing, requiring further stimulation before producing digestive enzymes. This suggests a rudimentary form of memory and calculation happening within cells that have no brain, no neurons, no nervous system at all. The plant makes decisions based on accumulated information, a kind of arithmetic performed through electrical signals and chemical changes. Intelligence, it seems, does not require a mind. And from the remarkable intelligence within individual plants, we turn to the way plants sense the world around them. Plants can sense gravity and always know which way is up, even in complete darkness. If you bury a seed upside down, it will still send its roots downward and its shoot upward. Plants possess specialized cells called statocytes containing tiny granules that settle at the lowest point of each cell under gravity, much like sand settling at the bottom of an hourglass. This settling triggers signals that tell the plant which direction is down, allowing roots to grow toward the earth and stems to reach for the sky even in complete darkness. Astronauts have observed that plants grown in the weightlessness of the International Space Station become confused, their roots and shoots growing in random directions without gravitational cues. Here on Earth, this sense of up and down is so reliable that a seedling germinating in total darkness beneath a stone will find its way without hesitation. Plants always know where they stand. Climbing vines can feel the texture of surfaces and choose the best path upward. The tendrils of a climbing vine do not simply grab at anything they touch. They explore their environment with a sensitivity that borders on the tactile, wrapping around some supports and ignoring others entirely. High-speed photography has revealed that growing tendrils make circular sweeping motions, searching for something to hold on to, and when they find a suitable surface, they will coil around it with increasing tightness over hours. Some vines can distinguish between a thin wire and a thick branch, preferring supports that will bear their weight as they climb toward the light. Others avoid surfaces too smooth or too hot, making choices that seem deliberate. The vine is not thinking in any way we would recognize, but it is processing information and responding with behavior that serves its survival. Touch, for a plant, is another way of seeing. Some plants close their leaves at night in a behavior called nyctinasty. As evening falls, certain plants begin to fold their leaves together, closing up for the night in a behavior that has fascinated observers since ancient times. This movement, called nyctinasty, is controlled by an internal clock and occurs even in constant darkness, suggesting plants anticipate nightfall rather than simply responding to it. The closing is achieved through changes in water pressure within special cells at the base of each leaf, causing leaves to droop or fold consistently from night to night. Scientists believe this may help conserve heat during cold nights, reduce water loss, or make the plant less visible to nocturnal herbivores. If you have ever watched a prayer plant slowly close its leaves as the room grows dim, you have witnessed a ritual repeated every evening for millions of years. Plants, too, prepare themselves for sleep. Plants can detect the difference between being touched by wind and being touched by an insect. Not all touches are the same to a plant. Researchers have discovered that plants can distinguish between wind buffeting their leaves and the more deliberate touch of an insect walking across their surface. The difference lies in the pattern of contact, with insect footsteps producing a signature that triggers defensive responses while the jostling of wind does not. Some plants only release defensive chemicals or produce bitter compounds when they detect the walking pattern of caterpillars, ignoring the swaying caused by breezes. This discrimination saves energy, allowing the plant to reserve its defenses for genuine threats rather than wasting resources responding to every gust. It is a subtle form of perception, a sensitivity to the quality of touch that we might associate with awareness, yet it happens in organisms without nerves. The plant feels the difference between a caress and a threat. The sensitive plant folds its leaves within seconds when touched as a defense mechanism. Touch the leaf of a sensitive plant and something extraordinary happens. Within moments, the leaflets fold together and the entire leaf stem droops downward, as though the plant were suddenly wilting before your eyes. This rapid movement is achieved through changes in water pressure within specialized cells at the base of each leaf, a mechanism that can be triggered by touch, heat, or even a sudden shake. Scientists believe this dramatic response may startle or deter herbivores by making the plant appear dead or diseased, or by exposing thorns that were hidden beneath the foliage. The plant will recover within minutes once the threat has passed, slowly reinflating its cells and raising its leaves back to their original position. It is a performance of vulnerability that serves as a sophisticated defense, a reminder that stillness and retreat can be their own forms of strength. Root tips contain cells that function like a primitive brain, processing environmental information. At the very tip of every growing root, there is a region just a few millimeters long where something remarkable occurs. Cells in this zone process information from multiple sources simultaneously, detecting gravity, moisture, touch, light, and chemical gradients, then integrating all this data to determine which direction the root should grow. Charles Darwin himself noted that the behavior of root tips resembled that of a lower animal, and modern scientists have found that electrical signals pass through these cells in patterns strikingly similar to those in animal nervous systems. The root tip must make constant decisions about where to push through the soil, how to avoid obstacles, and when to change direction, and it does all this without any central brain. Each root is its own navigator, feeling its way through darkness towards survival. And from the senses of plants, we move to the secret world of plant communication. Trees in a forest can share nutrients with struggling neighbors through underground networks. Beneath the floor of every forest lies a hidden web of connections that scientists have only recently begun to understand. Through networks of fungal threads that link their roots together, trees can transfer sugars, nitrogen, and other essential nutrients to neighboring trees that are struggling to survive. A mature tree shaded by the canopy might receive carbon from a taller neighbor that has greater access to sunlight, while a tree recovering from damage might be supported by resources flowing from surrounding trees. This exchange is not random but appears to favor kin, with parent trees sending more nutrients to their own offspring than to unrelated seedlings. The forest, it turns out, is not a collection of competing individuals but a cooperative community, quietly sharing resources beneath our feet. The roots are always reaching out to help. Plants can recognize their relatives and will compete less aggressively with kin. When plants grow near each other, they compete fiercely for light, water, and nutrients, sending out more roots and branches to claim their share of limited resources. But remarkably, many species will reduce this competitive behavior when they detect that their neighbors are genetic relatives. Roots of related plants grow less aggressively toward each other, leaving more space for both to thrive, while the same plants will vigorously invade the root zone of strangers. Scientists believe this recognition occurs through chemical signals released by the roots, allowing plants to distinguish between kin and non-kin, even though they have no eyes, no ears, and no brain. It is a form of family recognition that happens entirely underground, invisible to us but profoundly important to the plants themselves. Even without awareness, plants show something like kindness to their own. Some flowers change color after pollination to signal to bees that they have already been visited. In the world of flowers, color is a language spoken without words. Many species have evolved to change their color after they have been successfully pollinated, shifting from bright hues that attract bees to duller tones that tell pollinators to look elsewhere. This transformation can happen within hours of pollen arriving, turning a white flower pink or a yellow bloom orange, effectively placing a sign that says this flower has been visited with nothing to offer. The benefit flows both ways. The plant does not waste energy producing unnecessary nectar, and the pollinators do not waste time and effort visiting flowers that cannot reward them. It is a silent contract between species, refined over millions of years of coevolution. The changing colors of a garden are not just beautiful but meaningful, each shade carrying a message. And as you rest with these thoughts, there is no need to hold onto any of them. Let them drift through you like pollen on a summer breeze. Take a breath if you wish, and let your body settle a little deeper into the stillness. Plants release volatile compounds that can attract the predators of their attackers. When certain plants are attacked by hungry caterpillars, they do not simply endure the damage in silence. They release specific chemical compounds into the air that act as a distress signal, attracting wasps and other natural predators that hunt the very insects eating the plant. This is not a general alarm, but a precisely targeted call for help, with different compounds released depending on which species of herbivore is doing the damage. The wasps that respond will lay their eggs inside the caterpillars, eventually killing them, which benefits the plant by removing the threat. It is an alliance between species that seems almost calculated, as though the plant were deliberately summoning reinforcements to defend it. The air around a wounded garden is filled with such chemical conversations, plants calling for defenders we cannot see or hear. The scent of freshly cut grass is actually a distress signal from injured plant cells. That fresh green smell that rises when you mow a lawn or walk through a meadow is not simply a pleasant fragrance. It is a cloud of volatile organic compounds released by wounded grass, chemicals that signal damage and trigger defensive responses in nearby plants. When grass blades are cut, their cells rupture and release these compounds into the air within seconds, warning neighbors to begin producing their own protective chemicals before the threat reaches them. The scent we find so refreshing is, from the plant's perspective, a cry of alarm, a chemical shout that injury has occurred and danger may be near. Other plants detect this and respond, preparing themselves for potential attack even though they have not yet been harmed. The next time you breathe in that familiar scent, you are smelling a warning traveling through the air. Some orchids mimic the appearance and scent of female insects to attract pollinators. Among the most cunning and elaborate strategies in the plant kingdom is the deception practiced by certain orchids. These remarkable flowers have evolved to look and smell remarkably like female insects, luring unsuspecting male pollinators with the promise of a mate that simply does not exist. The petals are carefully shaped to resemble the body of a specific wasp or bee, complete with patterns that mimic eyes and wings, while the flower produces chemical compounds nearly identical to the pheromones released by receptive females. Male insects attempt to mate with the flower, and in doing so they pick up pollen that they carry to the next orchid they are fooled by. The plant offers no nectar, no reward of any kind, only illusion. It is a relationship built entirely on deception, one that has persisted for millions of years because it works. And from the ways plants communicate, we turn to the extraordinary strategies plants use to reproduce. Dandelion seeds can travel over 100 kilometers on the wind. The fluffy white head of a dandelion is one of nature's most elegant and efficient dispersal mechanisms. Each tiny seed is attached to a delicate parachute of fine bristles that catches the slightest breeze, allowing the seed to float gently through the air for remarkable distances. Scientists have calculated that under the right conditions, with steady winds and rising air currents, a dandelion seed can travel well over 100 kilometers before finally coming to rest. The structure of these bristles is so efficient at generating lift that engineers have studied them for inspiration in designing small flying devices. For the dandelion, this extraordinary range means that even a single plant can colonize distant fields, meadows, and gardens, spreading its genetic legacy far beyond its own roots. Every puff of wind becomes a voyage into the unknown. Some seeds need to pass through an animal digestive system before they can germinate. For certain plants, the journey to germination begins inside the warm stomach of an animal. Seeds encased in fruit are eaten by birds, mammals, and other creatures, passing through digestive systems that soften their hard outer coatings and make them ready to sprout. Without this treatment, the seeds would remain dormant indefinitely, unable to break through their protective shells on their own. The digestive acids and enzymes weaken the seed coat just enough, and the animal then deposits the seed in a new location, often far from the parent plant, complete with a small pile of fertilizer to help it grow. It is a partnership refined over millions of years of evolution, with plants offering sweet fruit in exchange for transportation and preparation. The seed travels the world inside another creature, then awakens to begin its own life. The corpse flower produces heat to spread its scent of rotting flesh and attract pollinators. Deep in the rainforests of Sumatra grows one of the most extraordinary and unsettling plants on Earth. The corpse flower, which can grow over 3 meters tall, produces a bloom that smells exactly like decomposing flesh, a scent so powerful it can be detected from half a kilometer away. But the smell alone would not be enough to attract the carrion beetles and flesh flies it depends upon for pollination, so the plant generates its own heat, warming its massive central spike to nearly human body temperature. This warmth helps to volatilize the stench, sending it wafting through the forest on thermals of its own creation, mimicking the heat that would rise from an actual corpse. The beetles and flies that arrive expecting a meal find no dead animal, only pollen that they will carry to the next corpse flower they are fooled by. Nature's deceptions are not always pretty. Fig trees have a unique relationship with wasps that has lasted over 80 million years. Every species of wild fig tree has its own dedicated species of wasp, and neither can reproduce without the other in a partnership as old as time itself. Female wasps enter the fig through a tiny opening, often losing their wings and antennae in the difficult process, and lay their eggs inside while pollinating the flowers within. The wasp dies inside the fig, her body absorbed by the fruit, while her offspring hatch, mate, and the new females emerge carrying pollen to find another fig tree. This relationship is so ancient that fossils show it was already established when dinosaurs still walked the earth, evolving together through millions of years of ice ages, extinctions, and continental drift. The fig you eat contains the echoes of this ancient partnership, fruit made possible by sacrifice. It is a bond written deeper than memory. Some plants can clone themselves, creating genetically identical offspring for thousands of years. In certain environments, some plants have abandoned sexual reproduction almost entirely, instead spreading through underground runners, root sprouts, or fragments that break off and take root elsewhere. A single creosote bush in the Mojave Desert, known as king clone, is estimated to be nearly 12,000 years old, a ring of genetically identical shrubs all descended from one original seedling that began to clone itself before the last ice age ended. Each new stem is a continuation of the original plant, not a descendant, but the same organism in a new body. This strategy sacrifices genetic diversity for reliability, producing offspring perfectly adapted to the same conditions as their parent. The clone simply keeps going, generation after generation, watching entire civilizations rise and fall around it. Time flows past while it remains. The smallest flower in the world is smaller than a grain of rice. Floating on the surface of ponds and gentle, slow-moving streams across the world is a plant so small that its entire body is barely visible to the naked eye. Wolffia, commonly known as watermeal, produces flowers that are just a fraction of a millimeter across, so tiny that the entire plant, including its delicate flower, could fit comfortably through the eye of a needle with room to spare. Despite their minuscule size, these flowers contain all the essential parts needed for reproduction, including both male and female structures. The plants reproduce rapidly through budding, covering water surfaces in green mats, but they do occasionally flower, producing the smallest blooms of any known plant on Earth. Scientists study them because their simplicity makes them ideal for genetic research. In the world of plants, size is no measure of success or survival. And from the strategies of reproduction, we move to how plants have adapted to extreme environments. Some desert plants can survive for years without any rainfall at all. In the driest places on Earth, where rain may not fall for a decade or more, certain plants have evolved extraordinary and remarkable strategies for their survival. Some store water in swollen stems or leaves, drawing on these reserves during endless dry spells that would kill most living things, while others reduce their leaves to tiny spines that minimize water loss. The welwitschia of the Namib Desert can live for over 1,000 years on nothing but the moisture it absorbs from coastal fog, its two strap-like leaves growing continuously throughout its entire life. These plants have abandoned the luxury of rapid growth, instead investing in patience and resilience above all else. Their roots reach deep into the earth, seeking moisture that may be decades old. To survive the desert is to master the art of waiting, and these plants have perfected it. Arctic plants produce their own antifreeze to survive temperatures far below freezing. Plants that grow in the frozen north face a deadly challenge. Ice crystals forming inside their cells would rupture membranes and destroy delicate tissue from within. To survive, Arctic and alpine plants produce special proteins and sugars that act as natural antifreeze, lowering the freezing point of their cellular fluids and preventing ice from forming even when temperatures plunge far below zero. Some species can survive being frozen completely solid, their entire metabolism suspended until warmth returns, while others keep their most vital tissues just above freezing even in the coldest conditions. These adaptations allow tiny wildflowers to bloom on the edges of glaciers and mosses to grow on rocks that are covered in snow for most of the year. Life, it seems, always finds ways to persist even in the coldest corners of our world. Mangrove trees can filter salt from seawater and thrive where other trees would die. Along tropical coastlines, where the sea meets the land, mangrove trees have mastered the seemingly impossible art of drinking seawater and actually thriving on it. Their roots filter out most of the salt before it enters their tissues, and any salt that does get through is either excreted through special glands in their leaves or stored in old leaves that eventually fall away. This remarkable adaptation allows mangroves to colonize intertidal zones where no other tree can survive, their tangled roots creating nursery habitats for fish and protecting coastlines from erosion and storms. The water inside a mangrove leaf is nearly as fresh as rainwater, despite the salty floods that wash over its roots twice each day. Where other plants see poison, mangroves find opportunity, turning hostile shores into thriving forests teeming with life. Some plants in the rainforest canopy have evolved to collect water in their leaves. High in the rainforest canopy, far from the soil below, certain plants have found ingenious ways to capture and store the water they need to survive and grow. Bromeliads arrange their leaves in tight rosettes that form natural tanks, collecting rainwater and debris that slowly decompose into nutrients the plant can absorb directly. These miniature ponds can hold several liters of water and become entire ecosystems of their own, home to frogs, insects, and even small crabs that complete their entire life cycles without ever touching the distant ground far below. The plant essentially creates its own soil and water supply, independent of the earth far beneath. Other canopy plants channel water along their leaves toward their roots, or develop spongy surfaces that absorb moisture directly from the humid air. Every drop in the canopy is precious. Resurrection plants can survive losing almost all their water and revive when rain returns. In the harshest deserts and rock outcrops of the world, a small group of plants have evolved the most extreme survival strategy of all. Resurrection plants can lose up to 97% of their water content, curling into dry brown balls that appear completely dead, then spring back to vibrant green life within hours of being moistened. During their dormant state, which can last for years or even decades, they produce special sugars and proteins that protect their cell membranes and DNA from the damage that would normally occur during severe dehydration. Scientists study these plants intensely, hoping to learn how to help crop plants survive drought as climate patterns shift around the world. The resurrection plant waits in apparent death, holding its life in suspension. It has learned that patience is sometimes the greatest strength. Alpine flowers often grow low to the ground to escape the punishing mountain winds. On high mountain slopes where the wind never stops and temperatures can drop below freezing even in summer, alpine plants have adopted a distinctive cushion or mat-like growth form that protects them from the harsh elements. By staying close to the ground, often just a few centimeters tall, these plants escape the worst of the wind and trap a layer of warmer air among their tightly packed leaves. The rock beneath them absorbs heat during the day and releases it slowly at night, keeping temperatures around the plant several degrees warmer than the exposed air above. This microclimate can mean the difference between survival and death when frost arrives in the middle of the growing season. Alpine flowers bloom in brilliant colors, their brief display attracting the few pollinators that venture so high. They have found shelter in smallness. And from the extremes of survival, we turn to the hidden world of plant defense. Acacia trees can increase the toxins in their leaves within minutes of being eaten. When giraffes begin feeding on African acacia trees, the plants launch a sophisticated chemical counterattack that unfolds with remarkable speed. Within 15 minutes of the first bite, damaged leaves begin pumping bitter tannins into their tissues, making them unpalatable and harmful to the animals eating them. But the defense does not stop there, because the acacia also releases ethylene gas into the air, a volatile chemical signal that gently drifts on the breeze to neighboring trees. Downwind acacias detect this alarm and begin increasing their own tannin levels before any herbivore has touched them. Giraffes have learned to respond by moving upwind to find trees that have not yet received the warning, or by walking far enough away to find individuals outside the network. The trees gossip about danger. Defense is a conversation. Some plants grow thorns only when they detect herbivores nearby. Growing thorns is expensive for a plant, requiring energy that could otherwise go toward growth or reproduction. So some clever species have developed a conditional defense. When these plants detect chemical signals in the saliva of browsing animals or sense the vibrations of chewing, they begin producing longer and sharper thorns on new growth. Studies on acacia species have shown that trees in areas with heavy grazing develop thorns up to 3 times longer than genetically identical individuals in protected areas. When the threat passes and herbivores move away, new growth returns to having shorter spines, conserving energy when defenses are not needed. This plasticity allows plants to adjust their armor to match the level of danger they face, tailoring responses in ways scientists once thought impossible. They grow what they need and nothing more. Stinging nettles inject a cocktail of chemicals through tiny needle-like hairs. The sting of a nettle is delivered through thousands of microscopic hollow hairs called trichomes, each one as fine as a glass needle and just as brittle. When you brush against the plant, the tips of these hairs break off at an angle, creating a sharp point that pierces the skin. The pressure of contact squeezes the contents like a syringe, injecting a mixture of histamine, acetylcholine, serotonin, and formic acid into your flesh. This chemical cocktail produces the familiar burning sensation and welts that can last for hours or days. Despite their painful reputation, nettles have been used medicinally for centuries, and some people deliberately sting themselves to relieve arthritis pain, a practice with scientific support. The same weapon that defends against predators can become a gentle medicine. Poison is often just a matter of intention. Tobacco plants can identify the saliva of specific caterpillars and tailor their defenses accordingly. When a caterpillar begins chewing on a tobacco leaf, the plant carefully analyzes the chemistry of the saliva to identify which species is feeding on it. Different caterpillars leave different chemical fingerprints, and the tobacco plant has evolved to read these signatures and respond with targeted countermeasures. Some defenses involve producing toxins that harm the specific pest, while others release volatile chemicals that attract parasitic wasps known to prey on that particular species. This specificity means the plant wastes no energy on defenses that would not work, instead channeling resources into the most effective response. Scientists have found that plants can distinguish between multiple caterpillar species on different leaves simultaneously, mounting independent responses. They know their enemies by taste alone. Some plants deploy sticky traps to capture and digest insects for nutrients. In nutrient-poor environments where the soil cannot provide enough nitrogen or phosphorus, some plants have evolved a remarkable solution by becoming predators themselves. Sundews cover their leaves with glistening droplets that look like morning dew, but are actually a sticky mucilage that traps any insect unlucky enough to land on them. Once caught, the victim's struggles only spread the glue further, and nearby tentacles slowly bend inward to press the prey more firmly against the leaf surface. The plant then secretes digestive enzymes similar to those in your stomach, breaking down the soft tissues of the insect over several days and absorbing the released nutrients directly through specialized cells in the leaf. After digestion is complete, the trap resets and the dried husk of the insect blows away on the wind. Hunger taught these plants to hunt in silence. The leaves of the sandbox tree explode to scatter seeds at speeds of over 70 meters per second. The sandbox tree of Central and South America has developed one of the most violent seed dispersal mechanisms in the plant kingdom, using explosive force to launch its offspring far from the parent tree. As the pumpkin-shaped fruit capsules dry in the tropical sun, tension builds within the woody segments until the structure bursts apart with a loud bang heard from considerable distance. Seeds are ejected at extraordinary speeds, traveling up to 40 meters from the parent tree, well beyond competition for light beneath the canopy. The force is so powerful that unripe fruits collected as curiosities have exploded indoors, startling collectors with sudden detonations. Every part of the tree is toxic, from the sap once used to poison fish to the seeds that cause severe distress if eaten. Violence and necessity combined. And from the defenses of plants, we move to the fascinating science of how plants tell time. Plants have internal clocks that run on roughly 24-hour cycles. Deep within every plant cell, molecular clockwork keeps time with remarkable precision, regulating everything from when leaves unfurl to when flowers release their strongest fragrance. These circadian rhythms persist even when plants are placed in constant darkness, showing the cycle is internally generated rather than a response to environment. The clock controls the opening and closing of stomata, the tiny pores through which plants breathe, ensuring they open when photosynthesis is possible and close when water conservation matters more. It also regulates protective chemicals, ramping up defenses when herbivores are most active. Scientists have discovered that plants with disrupted clocks grow more slowly and are more vulnerable, proving that keeping time is essential for survival. Like you, they live by rhythms written deep within themselves. Some flowers open and close at such predictable times that they were once used as clocks. The Swedish botanist Carl Linnaeus proposed a floral clock in the 18th century, a garden planted in a circle with species arranged according to when their flowers opened and closed throughout the day. He observed that certain flowers were so reliable in their timing that one could tell the hour by noting which blooms were open, from the spotted cat's ear that opens around 6 in the morning to the evening primrose that unfurls as darkness falls. This precision is driven partly by circadian rhythms and partly by environmental cues like light and temperature, with each species responding to its own combination of signals. The timing matches the activity patterns of pollinators, ensuring blooms are open when bees or moths are likely visiting. Few people tell time by flowers today, but the rhythm remains. Nature knows the hour. Plants can measure the length of nights to know when seasons are changing. For many plants, the trigger that initiates flowering or dormancy is not temperature, but the length of uninterrupted darkness each night. Through proteins called phytochromes that act as light sensors, plants can measure night length with extraordinary accuracy, detecting differences of just a few minutes. Short-day plants like chrysanthemums flower only when nights exceed a certain critical length, while long-day plants like lettuce and spinach flower when nights become shorter than their threshold. Even a brief flash of light in the middle of a long night can reset the measurement, tricking the plant into thinking the night was short. This photoperiodism allows plants to anticipate seasonal changes rather than simply reacting to them, beginning preparations weeks before conditions actually change. They read the darkness like a quiet calendar. Jet lag affects plants too, and their natural rhythms take time to adjust after being moved. When plants are transported across time zones, whether as shipments of produce or specimens for research, their internal clocks remain carefully synchronized to their original location for days afterward. A tomato plant flown from California to London will continue operating on Pacific time, opening its stomata according to where it came from rather than where it now resides. Experiments show it can take a week or more for circadian rhythms to fully resynchronize with a new light cycle, during which growth may slow and stress tolerance may decrease. This has practical implications for agriculture, as recently transplanted specimens may underperform until their clocks adjust to new conditions. Scientists have found the mechanisms of plant jet lag are strikingly similar to those in animals. We are all rhythmic creatures in the end. And as you rest here, perhaps your own rhythms are slowing, settling into a pace as steady as the turning of leaves toward the light. There is nothing you need to do. Just breathe and let the stillness hold you. Some trees can remember past winters and prepare earlier if a cold one is coming. Trees have a form of environmental memory that allows them to learn from harsh winters and adjust their behavior. Research shows trees exposed to severe cold develop epigenetic memory, chemical changes to their genes that do not alter the DNA sequence, but influence how it is read. After experiencing an unusually cold winter, many trees begin their preparations for the next winter earlier, dropping leaves sooner, producing more antifreeze compounds and strengthening tissues against frost. This memory can persist for several years, gradually fading if milder winters follow. Scientists believe this mechanism evolved because winters in any given location tend to follow patterns, with cold years sometimes clustering together. By remembering the past, trees can better prepare for what might come. Their rings record not just growth, but lessons from difficult seasons. Bamboo forests around the world sometimes flower simultaneously after decades of waiting. Bamboo is one of the most mysterious plants on Earth when it comes to reproduction. with some species waiting 60, 80, or even 120 years before flowering. When they finally do bloom, something remarkable happens because bamboo of the same species around the entire world will flower at the same time, regardless of climate, location, or growing conditions. A bamboo planted in England will flower simultaneously with its relatives in Japan and South America, following some internal clock that no external factor seems able to reset. After flowering, the plants produce seeds and then die, leaving bamboo forests temporarily devastated until new seedlings can grow. Scientists believe this synchronized mass flowering evolved to overwhelm predators with more seeds than can possibly be eaten. The forest counts the years in silence, then speaks all at once. And from the sense of time in plants, we turn to the strange and beautiful world of carnivorous plants. Venus flytraps can snap shut in less than 1/10 of a second. The Venus flytrap is one of the fastest moving plants in the world, capable of closing its modified leaf traps in approximately 100 milliseconds, faster than you can blink. This speed is achieved through a clever hydraulic mechanism combined with the stored elastic energy of leaves held under tension. When an insect touches one of the trigger hairs inside the trap, nothing happens immediately because the plant has evolved to require 2 touches within about 20 seconds to confirm that prey is present rather than just a falling raindrop or piece of debris. On the second touch, the trap springs shut, the interlocking teeth along the edges forming a cage that prevents larger prey from escaping. The plant then seals the trap completely and floods it with digestive enzymes over the following days, absorbing nutrients before the trap eventually reopens. Patience and precision combined in a single deadly leaf. Pitcher plants lure insects into slippery tubes where they drown and are slowly digested. The elegant tubes of pitcher plants are actually modified leaves, rolled into deadly funnels lined with wax crystals so slippery that insects cannot climb back out once they fall in. Many species enhance their allure by producing nectar around the rim and coloring their pitchers with patterns that mimic flowers or rotting meat, depending on whether they target pollinators or flies. Once an insect ventures too close and loses its footing on the waxy surface, it tumbles into a pool of digestive liquid at the bottom where it drowns and is slowly dissolved over days or weeks. Some pitcher plants have evolved to become partial toilets for tree shrews, providing a perch in exchange for nutrient-rich droppings. Others have developed relationships with mosquito larvae that live in the fluid and help break down prey. They have turned death into an ecosystem. Sundews use sticky tentacles that curl around trapped prey over the course of hours. Unlike the rapid snap of a Venus flytrap, sundews take their time, executing their captures with the slow inevitability of honey dripping from a spoon. Their leaves are covered with hair-like tentacles tipped with glistening drops of mucilage that sparkle in the sunlight, attracting insects that mistake them for nectar or dew. When prey makes contact, it becomes stuck in the adhesive, and its struggles alert neighboring tentacles that slowly bend toward the victim over several hours. Eventually, the leaf itself may curl inward, maximizing contact with the trapped insect, while glands on the leaf surface secrete enzymes that dissolve soft body parts. Digestion can take anywhere from several days to 2 weeks, after which the tentacles uncurl and the trap resets for the next meal. Time is the hunter in these patient green hands that wait in stillness. Bladderworts are aquatic plants with traps that can suck in prey faster than the eye can see. Floating in ponds and bogs around the world, bladderworts hold the record for the fastest trap in the plant kingdom, capturing small aquatic creatures in less than a millisecond. Their traps are tiny bladders kept under negative pressure, with a trapdoor sealed by a delicate trigger mechanism. When prey such as water fleas touch the trigger hairs, the door springs inward and water rushes in, carrying the animal with it before the door snaps shut again. The entire capture takes roughly 1/1000th of a second, far too fast for any prey to escape or for the human eye to follow without slow-motion cameras. Scientists studying these traps have found that the suction force is among the fastest biological movements ever recorded. In murky waters where roots cannot find enough nutrients, these plants hunt what they cannot absorb. Some carnivorous plants glow under ultraviolet light to attract insects at night. Many carnivorous plants have evolved the ability to fluoresce under ultraviolet light, glowing with an eerie blue luminescence that is invisible to human eyes, but attracts nocturnal insects like moths and flies. This fluorescence is produced by compounds in the plant's tissues that absorb ultraviolet radiation from moonlight or starlight and re-emit it as visible light. Researchers studying pitcher plants and sundews have found that the parts of the trap most important for luring prey often show the strongest fluorescence, suggesting this trait has been specifically shaped by evolution to enhance hunting success. The glowing patterns may mimic the ultraviolet reflections of flowers, tricking pollinators into approaching what turns out to be a one-way journey. In the dark of night, when most predators rest, these silent hunters continue their work with light. They fish with borrowed moonlight. Carnivorous plants evolved independently on several continents, a remarkable case of convergent evolution. The fact that plants in different parts of the world have independently developed the ability to trap and digest animals is one of the most striking examples of convergent evolution in nature. Genetic analysis has revealed that carnivory evolved separately at least 6 times in the plant kingdom, with each lineage finding its own unique solutions to the same problem of nutrient-poor soils. Pitcher traps evolved independently in the Americas, Southeast Asia, and Australia, each time through different modifications of leaf tissues that arrived at remarkably similar shapes. Scientists believe this repeated evolution occurred because carnivory provides such a significant advantage in environments where nitrogen is scarce that natural selection keeps rediscovering the same basic strategies. When life faces the same challenge repeatedly, it often finds the same answer. And from the hunters of the plant world, we move to the remarkable ways plants have shaped human history. The spice trade changed the course of world history and was built on the value of plant products. For thousands of years, the aromatic compounds that certain plants produced to defend themselves against insects and disease drove explorers across oceans and armies across continents. Pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves were once worth their weight in gold, financing voyages of discovery and shaping the rise and fall of empires from Rome to Venice to the colonial powers of Europe. The search for a sea route to the Spice Islands led Columbus to the Americas and Vasco da Gama around Africa, fundamentally reshaping world geography and trade. These plant chemicals that evolved simply to discourage being eaten became currencies that built cathedrals and funded wars between nations. Even today, the spice trade remains economically significant, though the distances now seem small. What began as plant defense became the engine of human history. Tulip bulbs once sold for more than houses during the Dutch tulip mania of the 17th century. In the 1630s, the Netherlands experienced one of history's first recorded speculative bubbles, centered on the bulbs of a flower that had only recently arrived from the Ottoman Empire. Rare tulip varieties with striking color patterns, caused by a virus that created unique flame-like streaks on the petals, commanded astronomical prices. At the height of the mania, a single bulb of the most prized variety could cost more than a skilled craftsman would earn in a lifetime, more than a house in Amsterdam. When the bubble collapsed in 1637, fortunes were lost overnight, and the economy took years to recover. Remarkably, the virus that created the most valuable patterns eventually weakened the bulbs so much that those famous varieties no longer exist. Beauty and disease became intertwined in the most expensive flowers the world has known. Cotton transformed global economies and remains one of the most important crops on Earth. The fluffy white fibers that surround cotton seeds evolved to help disperse them on the wind, but humans discovered these fibers could be spun into thread and woven into fabric that was lighter and more comfortable than wool. Cotton cultivation spread from its origins in India and the Americas to become a global industry that drove the expansion of slavery, sparked the Industrial Revolution, and reshaped the economies of nations from Egypt to the American South. The invention of the cotton gin made processing vastly more efficient, but also dramatically increased demand for enslaved labor. Today, cotton remains one of the most widely grown crops in the world, providing the fabric for most of the clothes we wear, though its water-intensive cultivation continues to strain ecosystems. From seed to shirt, it is a plant that has clothed humanity, but at a cost. The rubber tree funded empires and sparked industrial revolutions across continents. The milky latex of the rubber tree was used by indigenous peoples of the Amazon for centuries before Europeans discovered its remarkable properties. Rubber could stretch and bounce, could be molded into any shape, and could create waterproof barriers that nothing else could match. When Charles Goodyear discovered vulcanization, the process that made rubber durable and stable, demand exploded. The rubber boom transformed the Amazon into a brutal extractive economy, while British smugglers stole seeds and established vast plantations across Southeast Asia. Rubber tires made automobiles practical, rubber seals made engines possible, and rubber insulation enabled the electrical age. Entire cities rose and fell on rubber wealth, from Manaus in Brazil to Singapore in Asia. The sap of one tree species became the foundation of the modern industrialized world. Tea plants have been cultivated for over 5,000 years and shaped the cultures of entire nations. According to legend, the Chinese Emperor Shen Nung discovered tea when leaves from a wild tree blew into his pot of boiling water, but the true origins are lost in time. What is certain is that tea drinking became central to Chinese culture and eventually spread along trade routes to Japan, India, and eventually Europe, where it completely transformed social customs. The British obsession with tea drove colonial expansion into India and Ceylon, while the tea tax sparked the American Revolution. Japanese tea ceremonies elevated the simple act of drinking to a meditative art form, while British afternoon tea became a social institution. The caffeine in tea leaves evolved to protect plants from insects, yet humans cultivated it for that very same stimulating effect. A plant's defense became the world's favorite drink. The humble potato prevented famines and fueled the population growth of entire civilizations. When Spanish conquistadors brought the potato back from the Andes, they could not have imagined how profoundly this single plant would change European history. Potatoes could produce more calories per acre than any grain, could grow in poor soils where wheat would fail, and could be stored through long winters without spoiling. As potato cultivation spread across Europe, populations began to grow, and countries that adopted the crop gained economic advantages over those that did not. Ireland became so dependent on potatoes that when a blight struck in the 1840s, 1 million people died and another million emigrated. The population of Europe roughly doubled between the 18th and 19th centuries, and historians believe the potato deserves much of the credit. A humble root changed the course of human history. And from the plants that shaped history, we turn to the science of how gardens and horticulture emerged. The oldest known gardens were cultivated in Mesopotamia over 4,000 years ago. Long before the Great Gardens of Versailles or the Zen Gardens of Kyoto, ancient peoples in the land between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates were laying out deliberate plantings for pleasure as well as food. Cuneiform tablets from ancient Sumer describe gardens filled with date palms, fruit trees, and flowering plants arranged around pools and channels that brought water from the rivers. The legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon, if they existed, represented the pinnacle of ancient horticultural ambition, with terraces of plants rising high above the desert plains. These early gardens were symbols of power and prosperity, demonstrations that humans could impose order on nature and create green oases even in arid lands. The impulse to cultivate beauty alongside sustenance seems as old as civilization itself. Gardens have always been about more than what they grow. Botanical gardens were originally created to grow medicinal plants for apothecaries. The first botanical gardens in Europe emerged during the Renaissance as physic gardens attached to medical schools, where physicians could study the plants from which most medicines of the era were derived. The oldest surviving botanical garden, founded in Padua in 1545, still maintains its original circular layout designed to represent the cosmic order. As European exploration expanded, these gardens became repositories for plants collected from around the world, allowing scientists to study tropical species without leaving home. Botanical gardens played crucial roles in economic botany, testing which plants could be grown in new climates and developing crops that could feed colonial populations. Today, they serve primarily as conservation repositories and educational resources, preserving species that are disappearing from the wild. They began as medicine cabinets and became arks. Victorian plant hunters risked their lives to bring exotic specimens back to Europe. During the 19th century, wealthy collectors and scientific institutions dispatched adventurers to every corner of the globe in search of new and unusual plants to fill their greenhouses and gardens. These plant hunters faced shipwrecks, tropical diseases, hostile wildlife, and sometimes suspicious locals who did not appreciate strangers digging up their native flora. Many died on their expeditions, but those who returned brought back species that transformed European horticulture, including rhododendrons from the Himalayas, orchids from the jungles of South America, and conifers from the forests of Western North America. The competition between collectors was fierce, with nurseries paying enormous sums for exclusive rights to new discoveries. Gardens across Europe filled with plants from places most Europeans would never see. Adventure was measured in seeds. The greenhouse was invented to grow tropical plants in cold climates. The desire to cultivate exotic plants from warm climates drove centuries of innovation in protected growing structures, from simple glass cases to elaborate conservatories heated by stoves and later steam pipes. Early greenhouses were called orangeries because their primary purpose was to overwinter citrus trees that could not survive northern European winters outdoors. As glass became cheaper and heating improved, greenhouses grew larger until the Crystal Palace demonstrated that entire indoor jungles could be created beneath iron and glass. The understanding gained from greenhouse cultivation also revealed fundamental principles of how plants respond to temperature, light, and humidity. Modern greenhouses use computer controls to optimize every aspect of the growing environment, allowing tomatoes to ripen in winter and tropical orchids to bloom in lands of snow. We learn to carry summer indoors. Bonsai is the art of growing miniature trees that can live for centuries. The practice of bonsai originated in China over 1,000 years ago before being refined into an art form in Japan, where it became infused with Zen Buddhist philosophy. By carefully controlling every aspect of a tree's environment, from the size of its container to the pruning of its roots and branches, bonsai artists create living sculptures that capture the essence of ancient trees in miniature form. The oldest known bonsai still in cultivation is over 500 years old, having been tended by generations of caretakers who shaped its growth while keeping it alive through wars, earthquakes, and changing dynasties. Each bonsai tells a story through its twisted trunk and carefully positioned branches, its apparent age belying its small size. The art requires patience measured in decades and a vision that extends beyond a single lifetime. It is meditation in slow motion. Topiary, the art of shaping shrubs into forms, dates back to ancient Rome. Roman gardeners discovered that certain dense-growing shrubs could be clipped into geometric shapes or even figures of animals and people, an art that came to symbolize human mastery over nature. The practice declined after the fall of Rome, but was revived during the Renaissance when Italian gardens featured elaborate topiary designs that spread throughout Europe. Grand estates competed to create the most impressive displays, with towering hedges shaped into peacocks, ships, and mythological creatures that required constant maintenance by teams of skilled gardeners. The Victorians took topiary to new heights with their love of ornamental gardening, though the practice fell out of fashion when naturalistic landscape design became popular. Today, topiary remains a living art form, with masters spending years training a single plant into its intended shape. Patience and shears make growing statues. And from the history of gardens, we move to the way plants grow toward the light. Plants bend toward light through a process driven by growth hormones called auxins. When light strikes one side of a plant stem more strongly than the other, a remarkable chemical redistribution begins that will cause the stem to curve toward the light source. Auxin hormones, which promote cell elongation, move away from the lit side and accumulate on the shaded side of the stem. The cells on the shaded side then grow longer than those on the sunny side, causing the stem to bend toward the light like a slow-motion bow. This process, called phototropism, was studied by Charles Darwin and his son Francis, who demonstrated that the light-sensing mechanism was located in the tip of the growing shoot rather than in the bending zone itself. The plant essentially creates a chemical gradient that tells its cells which direction to stretch. Without moving from their spot, plants can still follow the light. They bend because they are designed to reach. Some plants can detect the color of light and respond differently to red and blue wavelengths. Plants do not simply detect the presence or absence of light, but can distinguish between different wavelengths with remarkable precision using specialized photoreceptor proteins. Phytochromes respond primarily to red and far-red light, helping plants determine whether they are in full sun or shade, since shade contains more far-red light. Cryptochromes and phototropins respond to blue light, influencing stem growth, leaf expansion, and the opening of stomata. By reading the color composition of light, plants can tell whether they are growing beneath other plants, whether it is morning or afternoon, and whether they should stretch upward or spread outward. This color vision is fundamentally different from animal sight, but serves similar purposes of gathering information about the environment. They see a world we cannot perceive. Light speaks to them in colors. Seedlings in complete darkness grow tall and pale, searching desperately for any source of light. When a seed germinates in darkness, the young plant exhibits a distinctive growth pattern called etiolation that represents its desperate search for light. The stem elongates rapidly, becoming thin and spindly, as the seedling races upward on the assumption that light must be somewhere above. leaves remain small and unexpanded, since there would be no point in deploying them without light to capture. Most striking is the color, a ghostly pale yellow or white, because without light there is no trigger to produce the green chlorophyll needed for photosynthesis. This etiolated growth is essentially a survival gamble, the plant betting everything on finding light before its seed reserves run out. Once even the faintest ray of light touches the seedling, these patterns reverse dramatically and normal growth begins. In darkness, seedlings become pale and thin. Plants grown in space still try to orient themselves as if gravity existed. Experiments aboard the International Space Station have revealed that plants have a fundamental need for orientation that persists even when gravity is absent. In microgravity, plants initially grow in confused directions, their roots and shoots extending randomly without the gravitational cues they evolved to use. Over time, however, many species begin to orient themselves using light as their primary guide, with shoots growing toward illumination and roots growing away from it. The starch-filled statoliths that normally settle in root cells to indicate down continue to move around aimlessly in space, unable to provide directional information. Scientists studying space-grown plants have found changes in gene expression, cell wall structure, and developmental timing that suggest plants experience stress from the absence of gravity. Even in orbit, they remember what down should mean. Forest floor plants have evolved to capture the brief moments of light that reach them. On the floor of a dense forest, less than 2% of the sunlight that falls on the canopy ever reaches the ground, creating an environment of perpetual shade, punctuated by brief sunflecks when the wind parts the leaves above. Plants that have adapted to this dim world have developed leaves with more chlorophyll arranged differently within cells, allowing them to capture and use light more efficiently at low intensities. Some spring wildflowers in temperate forests solve the problem by completing their entire life cycle before the trees above them leaf out, racing through flowering and seed production in a few weeks. Others produce enormous leaves relative to their size, maximizing light capture despite the energy cost of building such large structures. Life finds ways in the darkest corners of the forest. Shade is just another challenge. And as these facts settle around you like falling petals, there is no need to gather them up. Let them rest where they land. Feel your breath moving slowly, and let your body sink a little deeper into the calm of this moment. Some leaves can track the sun across the sky to maximize photosynthesis. In a behavior called solar tracking or heliotropism, certain plants move their leaves to follow the sun as it crosses the sky from east to west, keeping their surfaces perpendicular to the incoming rays throughout the day. Sunflowers are the most famous examples, though their tracking behavior is actually strongest in young plants and decreases as they mature. The mechanism involves differential cell growth on opposite sides of the leaf petiole or stem, similar to the phototropism that makes seedlings bend toward light but operating continuously throughout the day. By tracking the sun, plants can increase their light capture by up to 40% compared to stationary leaves, a significant advantage in competitive environments. As the sun sets, the leaves reset their position to face east, ready for the next sunrise. They are devoted followers of light. And from the way plants follow light, we turn to the remarkable chemistry happening inside every leaf. Photosynthesis converts sunlight into energy with an efficiency that scientists still struggle to match. The process by which plants convert light, water, and carbon dioxide into sugar and oxygen is one of the most important chemical reactions on Earth, and arguably the most elegant. At the heart of photosynthesis are proteins that split water using sunlight, a feat requiring enormous precision at the molecular level. The overall efficiency of photosynthesis in converting light energy to chemical energy is only about 1 to 2%, yet this modest figure represents refinements accumulated over 3 billion years of evolution. Scientists attempting to create artificial photosynthesis for clean energy production have found that matching even the basic capabilities of plant cells requires sophisticated technologies. Every leaf you see is performing a quiet miracle that our best laboratories still cannot replicate at scale. Sunlight becomes sugar in silence. Plants produce over half of the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere through their leaves. Every breath you take contains oxygen that was released by a plant splitting water molecules during photosynthesis somewhere on Earth. While ocean phytoplankton produce roughly half of this oxygen, land plants contribute the other half, with tropical rainforests and boreal forests being particularly productive. A single large tree can produce enough oxygen to support 2 to 4 people for a year, releasing it molecule by molecule through tiny pores in its leaves. This oxygen is essentially a waste product from the plant's perspective, a byproduct of their need to obtain hydrogen atoms from water for building sugars. Before photosynthetic organisms evolved, Earth's atmosphere contained almost no free oxygen, and it was the slow accumulation of this gas over billions of years that made animal life possible. We exhale what they need, and they exhale what we need. The exchange sustains all breathing life. The green color of leaves comes from chlorophyll, which absorbs red and blue light. When you look at a leaf, the green you see is actually the wavelength of light that chlorophyll cannot use, and therefore reflects back to your eyes. Chlorophyll molecules are remarkably good at capturing red and blue light for photosynthesis, but absorb very little green light, explaining why most plants appear green to us. This seems like an inefficiency, since green light carries substantial energy, but the chemistry of chlorophyll was established billions of years ago when different conditions may have favored these particular absorption peaks. Some researchers have speculated that early photosynthetic organisms using different pigments may have already claimed the green wavelengths, forcing chlorophyll-using species to work with what remained. Other photosynthetic pigments in plants do capture some green light, but chlorophyll dominates. Green is the signature of life as we know it. Autumn colors appear when trees stop producing chlorophyll and other pigments become visible. The brilliant reds, oranges, and yellows of autumn foliage are not created by the falling temperatures, but revealed as trees stop manufacturing chlorophyll in preparation for winter. Throughout the growing season, the green of chlorophyll masks other pigments present in the leaves, including yellow and orange carotenoids that play supporting roles in photosynthesis. When autumn arrives and days shorten, trees form a layer of cells at the base of each leaf that will eventually cut off the flow of water and nutrients, signaling the leaf to stop producing chlorophyll. As the green fades, the carotenoids that were there all along become visible. The red and purple anthocyanins are different, actively produced in autumn from sugars trapped in leaves after the abscission layer forms. Every autumn, the forest reveals its hidden palette in one last display before winter arrives. Some algae and plants can photosynthesize even under ice in polar regions. In the frozen seas of Antarctica and the Arctic, microscopic algae live in a world that would seem impossible for photosynthetic life. These organisms become trapped in sea ice as it forms, creating pockets of concentrated salt water where temperatures drop well below zero, yet life somehow persists. The ice itself acts like a greenhouse roof, allowing some light to penetrate while protecting the algae from the harshest conditions above. When spring arrives, these ice algae bloom in spectacular fashion, their numbers multiplying so rapidly that they can tint the underside of ice sheets green or brown. Certain cold-adapted land plants perform a similar trick, continuing to photosynthesize beneath snow cover where enough light filters through to fuel their metabolism. Life in the cold has learned to work with very little. Even ice cannot stop the hunger for light. The sugar produced by photosynthesis is the foundation of nearly all food chains on Earth. When a plant captures sunlight and uses it to build sugar from carbon dioxide and water, it is creating the molecular currency that funds almost all life on the planet. Animals that eat plants are consuming the stored solar energy, and predators that eat those herbivores are accessing that same energy at one further remove. This flow of energy from sunlight through plants to animals defines nearly every ecosystem on land and in the sunlit layers of the ocean. Even the creatures living in the deepest parts of the sea, miles below where any light can reach, often depend on the slow rain of dead plant material drifting down from above. Fossil fuels are nothing more than ancient photosynthesis, solar energy captured by plants millions of years ago and preserved in the earth. Every bite of food traces back to a leaf. We are all children of the sun. And from the chemistry of leaves, we move to the hidden life of roots beneath the soil. Roots communicate with beneficial bacteria and fungi to form partnerships that help both survive. Beneath the soil's surface, a constant chemical conversation is taking place between plant roots and the microorganisms that surround them. Roots release sugars and other compounds that attract beneficial bacteria and fungi, effectively advertising for partners. When the right organisms detect these signals, they approach the root and begin a negotiation that can result in intimate symbiotic relationships. Nitrogen-fixing bacteria form nodules on legume roots where they convert atmospheric nitrogen into forms the plant can use. Mycorrhizal fungi extend their networks through the soil, delivering water and minerals to root cells in exchange for sugars. These partnerships are so important that plants deprived of their microbial allies often grow poorly even in nutrient-rich soil. The roots speak chemistry, and the soil listens. Cooperation runs deeper than we can see. Some roots release chemicals that prevent competing plants from growing nearby. Many plants engage in a form of chemical warfare called allelopathy, releasing compounds from their roots that inhibit the germination or growth of potential competitors. Black walnut trees are among the most famous practitioners, producing juglone that is toxic to many nearby plants and can persist in soil for years after the tree is removed. Sunflowers, eucalyptus, and many invasive species use similar strategies, creating zones around themselves where other plants struggle to establish. The chemicals can affect root development, seed germination, or the soil microbes that other plants depend upon. This underground aggression helps explain why certain plants seem to dominate their habitats, while others cannot get a foothold nearby. Competition in nature is not always about reaching for the sun, but sometimes about poisoning the ground beneath your rivals. The deepest known root system belongs to a fig tree that reached over 100 meters underground. In South Africa, a wild fig tree's roots were discovered during excavation for a mine, extending an extraordinary 120 meters below the surface in their search for water. This remarkable depth exceeds the height of most buildings and demonstrates the lengths to which plants will go to access the moisture they need. Most tree roots stay within a few meters of the surface where nutrients are abundant, but in arid environments, deep taproots can be a matter of survival. These roots may take decades or even centuries to reach such depths, growing slowly downward through rock and soil in pursuit of underground water sources. The effort required is immense and ongoing, yet the reward is access to water that remains available even during the longest and harshest droughts. Depth becomes a patient survival strategy. Root hairs are so fine that a single plant can have billions, vastly increasing its absorption surface. The visible roots of a plant are only part of the story, because extending from their surfaces are countless microscopic projections called root hairs that do most of the actual work of absorbing water and nutrients. Each root hair is a single elongated cell, so thin that it can extend into the smallest spaces between soil particles where water clings. A mature rye plant was found to have over 14 billion root hairs, with a combined length exceeding 10,000 kilometers, roughly the distance from London to Sydney. These hairs are constantly being produced at the growing tips of roots while older ones die back, meaning the absorption surface is continuously renewed. The total surface area of a plant's root hairs can be several times larger than the surface of its leaves. Abundance beyond counting lies hidden below. Plants can sense obstacles in the soil and navigate around them with surprising precision. When a growing root tip encounters a stone, a hard layer of soil, or even the root of another plant, it does not simply stop, but instead redirects its growth to find a way around the obstacle. This ability, called thigmotropism, involves sensing mechanical resistance and adjusting the direction of cell elongation accordingly. The root tip acts as a kind of probe, constantly testing the soil ahead and modifying its path based on what it encounters. Some roots can even distinguish between obstacles that might yield with continued pressure and those that require navigation around. This allows root systems to explore surprisingly complex soil environments, threading their way through cracks in rock and gaps between pebbles with apparent purpose. They solve mazes in complete darkness without eyes or maps, feeling their way steadily forward. Mycorrhizal networks connect the roots of different plants, allowing them to share resources. Beneath forest floors, an intricate web of fungal threads connects individual trees and plants into a network that some scientists have called the Wood Wide Web. Mycorrhizal fungi form intimate relationships with roots, extending their hyphal threads far beyond where roots themselves can reach and connecting to multiple plants simultaneously. Through these networks, carbon, water, and nutrients can flow from plant to plant, often from mature trees to seedlings struggling in the shade. Studies have shown that mother trees can recognize their own offspring through these networks and preferentially supply them with resources. Warning signals about insect attacks may also travel through the fungal connections. What appears to be a forest of separate individuals may actually function more like a superorganism, interconnected and interdependent. The forest whispers underground. And from the world beneath the soil, we turn to the night life of plants. Many flowers bloom only at night to attract nocturnal pollinators like moths and bats. While most flowers open their petals to greet the morning sun, a significant number have evolved to do the opposite, unfurling after dark to attract the moths, bats, and other creatures that are active at night. These night-blooming flowers tend to be white or pale in color, which makes them more visible in moonlight than bright colors would be. They often produce strong fragrances that can travel far through the still night air, guiding pollinators toward them from considerable distances. The relationship between night-blooming plants and their pollinators can be highly specialized, with flower shapes that match particular moth tongues or bat faces precisely. Some flowers time their opening to coincide with the emergence of specific nocturnal insects, ensuring their pollen is fresh when their partners arrive. When darkness falls, a different garden awakens in fragrant bloom. Some plants close their stomata at night to conserve water while continuing to grow. When the sun goes down and photosynthesis becomes impossible, many plants face a choice between keeping their stomata open and losing water to the night air, or closing them and slowing gas exchange. Most plants close their stomata at night since there is no carbon dioxide uptake needed for photosynthesis in darkness, reducing water loss significantly during the cooler hours. Some desert-adapted plants have evolved an even cleverer strategy called cam photosynthesis, opening their stomata only at night when temperatures are lower and humidity higher, capturing and storing carbon dioxide for use during the day. Growth itself often continues through the night, with cells elongating when the stress of water loss and temperature extremes is reduced. The quiet hours after sunset are not idle, but are times of steady work in the darkness. Night is for growing in silence. The night-blooming cereus opens its flowers for only one night each year. Few flowers inspire as much devotion as the night-blooming cereus, a cactus whose spectacular white blooms open after dark and wilt before dawn, never to reappear until the following year. The timing is unpredictable, with blooms appearing sometime between late spring and early autumn, leading enthusiasts to wait anxiously for signs that tonight might be the night. When the flowers finally begin to open, they do so visibly, unfurling over the course of a few hours in a display that draws crowds in botanical gardens around the world. The fragrance is intense and sweet, filling the night air to attract the moths that pollinate these ephemeral blooms in their native desert habitats. By morning, the petals have wilted and collapsed. The flowers work complete until the cycle begins again months later. The rarest beauty often lasts only a night and comes but once a year. Moonflowers release their sweetest fragrance after the sun goes down. As twilight deepens and the air cools, moonflower vines begin to open their large white trumpet-shaped blooms, releasing a sweet perfume that intensifies as darkness falls. These relatives of morning glories have evolved to attract night-flying moths, particularly hawk moths with long tongues that can reach the nectar hidden at the bottom of the flower's deep throat. The white petals glow in moonlight, making them visible to nocturnal pollinators even on the darkest nights, while the fragrance travels far on still air. By sunrise, the flowers close and the scent fades, only to return again when evening arrives. Gardeners who plant moonflowers often find themselves sitting outside on summer nights, drawn by the perfume to watch the flowers open as stars emerge overhead. Night gardens reveal a world of fragrance invisible to those who only walk by day. Some plants continue photosynthesis using starlight and moonlight, though at a much slower rate. Although photosynthesis is primarily a daytime activity driven by sunlight, research has shown that some plants can capture and use the much fainter light of the moon and stars. At full moon, approximately 500,000 times less light reaches Earth than during midday sunshine. Yet this is still enough for sensitive plants to engage in low-level photosynthetic activity. Arctic and alpine plants that experience extended twilight may benefit most, squeezing growth from every available photon. The rate of nighttime photosynthesis is so slow that it contributes only a tiny fraction of a plant's energy budget, yet in harsh environments where growing seasons are short, every bit helps. Some researchers have also suggested that moonlight may serve as a timing signal, helping plants coordinate with lunar cycles. Even starlight carries enough energy for life to sense and use. Certain desert plants open their pores only at night to avoid water loss during the day. In the scorching heat of desert days, opening stomata to collect carbon dioxide for photosynthesis would cause catastrophic water loss through evaporation. Some desert plants have evolved an elegant solution by separating the two processes in time. These plants open their stomata only at night when temperatures are cooler and humidity higher, taking in carbon dioxide and storing it in the form of organic acids within their cells. During the day, with stomata firmly closed, they break down these acids to release the stored carbon dioxide internally, using it for photosynthesis without ever exposing their tissues to the drying air outside. This CAM photosynthesis is the secret behind the success of cacti, agaves, and many other drought-adapted plants. They breathe at night and grow during the day, solving an impossible problem through chemistry. And from the night life of plants, we move to the oldest and largest living things on Earth. The oldest known living tree is over 5,000 years old. High in the White Mountains of California, a bristlecone pine named Methuselah has been growing since before the Egyptian pyramids were built, making it the oldest known individual non-clonal tree on Earth. Its exact location is kept secret to protect it from visitors who might damage it, but it stands somewhere among the gnarled and twisted trunks of a grove where several trees exceed 4,000 years of age. The harsh conditions at high altitude, with poor soil, little water, and extreme temperatures, paradoxically contribute to the tree's longevity by slowing growth and producing dense, resin-rich wood that resists rot and pests. Each year, Methuselah adds only a fraction of a millimeter to its girth, yet the ring it produces contains a record of that year's climate. The tree has stood through the rise of civilizations. It was ancient before history began. A single aspen grove in Utah is considered the largest and heaviest organism on Earth. What appears to be a forest of individual aspen trees in Utah's Fish Lake National Forest is actually a single organism, a vast network of genetically identical stems connected by a shared root system. Named Pando, which means I spread in Latin, this clonal colony weighs an estimated 6 million kilograms and covers over 40 hectares, making it the heaviest known organism on our planet. Each trunk that rises from the forest floor is technically not a tree, but a stem of the larger organism, all sharing the same genetic code and the same ancient root network. Scientists estimate Pando may be 80,000 years old or more, having survived ice ages and shifting climates through its ability to regenerate continuously from its roots. Individual stems live only about 100 years, but the organism persists indefinitely. It is a forest that is also a single creature. Giant sequoias can grow taller than a 30-story building. The giant sequoias of California are among the most massive living things ever to exist on Earth, with the largest individuals exceeding 80 meters in height and weighing more than 1,000 tons. Their trunks can grow wide enough to drive cars through, and their bark, which can reach nearly a meter thick, protects them from the forest fires that regularly sweep through their groves. These trees can live for more than 3,000 years, meaning some individuals alive today were already ancient when Rome was at its height. Despite their enormous size, giant sequoias grow from seeds so tiny that it takes 90,000 of them to weigh a single pound. They require fire to reproduce successfully, as the heat opens their cones and clears the forest floor for seedlings to establish. From almost nothing, they become giants that dwarf all but the mountains. Some individual plants have witnessed the rise and fall of entire human civilizations. Scattered across the world are plants that were already mature when humans were building their first cities, and which remain alive today after watching empires crumble into dust. Olive trees in the Mediterranean have been carbon dated to over 2,000 years old, meaning they may have provided shade to Roman soldiers and fruit to medieval pilgrims. The great bodhi tree in Sri Lanka was reportedly planted from a cutting of the tree under which Buddha achieved enlightenment, now over 2,000 years ago. Japanese cedars, African baobabs, and yew trees in British churchyards have all exceeded 1,000 years, serving as living witnesses to history that no written record could match. These ancient plants connect us to our past in a tangible and living way that monuments of stone cannot replicate. They remember what we have long forgotten. The world's largest flower can grow over a meter wide and smells of decaying flesh. Deep in the rainforests of Southeast Asia grows Rafflesia arnoldii, a parasitic plant that produces the largest individual flower in the world. The bloom can exceed a meter in diameter and weigh up to 10 kilograms, yet the plant that produces it has no leaves, stems, or even roots of its own, existing only as threads within the vine it parasitizes. When the flower finally emerges after months of development, it releases a powerful smell of rotting meat that attracts the flies and beetles which act as its pollinators. The flower lasts only a few days before collapsing, and specific Rafflesia species are becoming increasingly rare as their rainforest habitats shrink. Scientists studying these remarkable plants have discovered that their genes reveal a history of stealing genetic material from their hosts over millions of years. A flower built from borrowed genes blooms once in a borrowed home. Kelp forests can grow half a meter per day, making them among the fastest-growing organisms on Earth. In the cold waters along rocky coastlines, giant kelp can extend its fronds toward the surface at rates that seem almost visible to the patient observer. Under ideal conditions of clear water, abundant nutrients, and sufficient light, this seaweed can add half a meter to its length every single day, allowing individuals to reach heights of over 45 meters. Kelp forests create underwater ecosystems as complex as any forest on land, sheltering fish, invertebrates, and marine mammals in their swaying canopies. Gas-filled bladders keep the fronds buoyant and near the surface where light is strongest, while a root-like holdfast anchors the kelp to rocks below. These forests are among the most productive ecosystems on Earth, converting sunlight and nutrients into biomass with remarkable efficiency. They grow with the urgency of things that know the sea. And as these wonders settle softly into your thoughts, let your breathing slow like a plant releasing its last light of the day. There is nothing to hold, nothing to chase. Just rest here, among the ancient patience of the green world. And from the giants of the plant kingdom, we turn to the healing power that plants have offered humanity for millennia. Over 70% of modern medicines have their origins in compounds from plants. For most of human history, plants were the primary source of all medicines, and even today they continue to provide the chemical inspiration for many of our most important drugs. The cancer treatment vincristine comes from the Madagascar periwinkle, morphine from the opium poppy, and quinine from the bark of the cinchona tree. Pharmaceutical companies regularly screen plants from around the world looking for compounds that might treat disease, knowing that evolution has already spent millions of years optimizing these molecules. Indigenous peoples have accumulated knowledge about medicinal plants through thousands of years of careful observation, knowledge that scientists are now racing to preserve and study before it is lost. Every time a rainforest is cleared, potential medicines that might have saved lives disappear before they are discovered. The pharmacy exists within the forest itself. Willow bark was used for pain relief for thousands of years before aspirin was discovered. Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and numerous indigenous cultures around the world independently discovered that chewing willow bark or drinking tea made from it could relieve pain and reduce fever. The active compound, salicin, is converted by the body into salicylic acid, which has anti-inflammatory properties. In the 19th century, chemists isolated and modified this compound to create acetylsalicylic acid, marketed as aspirin, which became one of the most widely used medicines in history. The willow tree evolved these compounds to protect itself from disease and herbivory, never knowing that millions of humans would one day rely on them for relief. This pattern of discovering medicines by studying traditional plant remedies has repeated itself countless times throughout history. The tree offered pain relief long before we understood why it worked. Aloe vera has been used for healing wounds for over 6,000 years. The thick, succulent leaves of aloe vera contain a clear gel that has been prized for its healing properties since the time of ancient Egypt, where it was known as the plant of immortality. Cleopatra reportedly used aloe as part of her beauty regimen, and Alexander the Great is said to have conquered an island specifically to secure supplies of aloe for treating his soldiers' wounds. Modern research has confirmed that aloe gel contains compounds that reduce inflammation, fight bacteria, and promote the growth of new skin cells. The plant stores water in its leaves as a survival strategy for dry climates, and the protective compounds that help it survive have proven useful for human healing as well. Aloe plants now grow on windowsills around the world, ready to offer their ancient and ever-reliable cure. A humble succulent became a medicine cabinet. The foxglove plant gave us digitalis, a medicine still used to treat heart conditions. The beautiful purple flowers of foxglove have been known for centuries to be both deadly poison and powerful medicine, depending entirely on the dose. In the 18th century, an English physician named William Withering documented how extracts of foxglove could treat dropsy, which we now know as the fluid retention caused by heart failure. The active compounds, called cardiac glycosides, slow and strengthen the heartbeat, allowing the heart to pump more efficiently. Even today, digitalis compounds derived from foxglove remain important treatments for certain heart rhythm disorders, though the therapeutic dose is dangerously close to the toxic dose. The plant evolved these compounds to deter herbivores, concentrating them in its leaves in amounts that can kill animals foolish enough to eat them. From poison came a medicine. Nature's warnings can also be nature's gentle gifts. Lavender has been shown to reduce anxiety and improve sleep quality. The purple flowers and silvery leaves of lavender have been used for relaxation and sleep for thousands of years, and modern research has begun to validate what traditional practitioners long knew. Studies have shown that inhaling lavender essential oil can reduce anxiety levels, lower heart rate, and improve sleep quality in both healthy individuals and those with sleep disorders. The compounds responsible appear to interact with neurotransmitter systems in the brain, producing mild sedative effects without the side effects associated with pharmaceutical sleeping aids. Lavender sachets placed under pillows, lavender oil in baths, and lavender plants in bedrooms have all been used to promote peaceful sleep across many cultures. The plant evolved its fragrance primarily to attract pollinators and repel pests, yet humans have found it to be a gentle ally in the search for rest. Its scent carries the promise of sleep. Scientists continue to discover new medicinal compounds in rainforest plants. Tropical rainforests contain more species of plants than any other ecosystem on Earth, and scientists estimate that only a small fraction of these have been studied for potential medicinal properties. Every year, researchers discover new compounds with promising activity against diseases from cancer to malaria to antibiotic-resistant bacteria. The chemical diversity of rainforest plants is staggering because intense competition and predation have driven the evolution of ever more sophisticated defense compounds. A single hectare of rainforest might contain more chemically distinct species than exist in entire temperate countries. Yet these forests are disappearing at alarming rates, their potential medicines vanishing before they can be discovered. The race to study rainforest plants before they are lost has become one of medicine's most urgent tasks. Cures may be disappearing faster than we find them. And from the healing gifts of plants, we come to a final reflection on the quiet presence of the green world. Indoor plants have been shown to improve air quality and reduce stress in humans. Research has found that having plants in indoor spaces can reduce certain air pollutants, increase humidity, and provide psychological benefits that improve well-being. Some plants are particularly effective at absorbing volatile organic compounds released by furniture, carpets, and cleaning products, though the scale of this effect in real-world settings is still debated. What is more clearly established is the psychological impact of indoor greenery, with studies showing reduced stress, improved mood, and faster recovery from mental fatigue in the presence of plants. Offices with plants report higher productivity and job satisfaction, while hospital patients with views of plants or gardens recover more quickly than those without. The presence of living green things seems to satisfy some deep human need for connection with nature. We heal faster when surrounded by plants. Spending time among trees lowers blood pressure and boosts the immune system. The Japanese practice of forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku, involves slow, contemplative walks through woodlands, and research has documented measurable health benefits from this practice. After spending time among trees, people show reduced blood pressure, lower levels of cortisol, and improved immune function that can persist for days after the experience. Some of these effects may come from volatile compounds called phytoncides that trees release into the air to protect themselves from pests and disease. When humans inhale these compounds, they appear to boost the activity of natural killer cells, a type of white blood cell that helps fight infections and tumors. The forest offers healing simply by being itself, asking nothing in return but our presence. To walk slowly among trees is to receive a quiet gift we are only beginning to understand. Gardens have been used as therapeutic spaces for healing since ancient times. Monastic gardens of the Middle Ages were designed not only to grow medicinal herbs, but to provide peaceful spaces where the sick could walk and recover surrounded by beauty and fragrance. This tradition of healing gardens has continued into modern times, with growing evidence that access to gardens speeds recovery from illness and improves mental health. Horticultural therapy, the practice of using gardening activities as part of treatment, has proven effective for conditions from depression to dementia to post-traumatic stress. The act of nurturing plants provides purpose and gentle physical activity, while the sensory experience of gardens engages the mind in calming ways. Hospital gardens, rehabilitation center courtyards, and prison horticulture programs all draw on the healing power that plants offer. The garden heals both those who grow and those who simply rest within it. The presence of green spaces in cities has been linked to longer, healthier lives. Large-scale studies have found that people living near parks, gardens, and other green spaces live longer and healthier lives than those in areas without greenery, even after accounting for differences in wealth and lifestyle. The mechanisms seem to involve multiple pathways, from reduced air pollution and urban heat to increased opportunities for physical activity and social interaction. Mental health benefits may be equally important, as access to nature reduces stress and provides respite from the constant stimulation of urban environments. City planners around the world are now incorporating green infrastructure into urban design, recognizing that plants are not merely decoration, but essential components of healthy human habitats. The presence of trees and gardens in our cities is literally a matter of life and death. Plants make cities places where we can thrive. And so our sleep documentary, Through the Secret Life of Plants, draws softly to a close. We have traveled from the buried roots that search for water in darkness to the leaves that track the sun across the sky. We have witnessed seeds that can sleep for centuries, flowers that bloom for a single night, and trees that have stood watch over the earth since before the pyramids were built. We have discovered how plants speak to one another through the air and through the soil, how they defend themselves with chemistry, and how they have quietly shaped the course of human history. From the smallest moss to the tallest sequoia, this sleepy science journey has revealed the green world to be far more alive, far more aware than we ever imagined. If these soothing facts helped you fall asleep tonight, consider staying with us. There are more wonders waiting in the quiet corners of the natural world, more bedtime stories and facts to drift off to on future nights. Subscribe if you wish, and perhaps share this calm science for sleep with someone who needs deep rest. We are building this community one sleepy soul at a time. Right now, as you listen, the plants around you continue their slow, patient work. The leaves are breathing, the roots are reaching, the cells are dividing in rhythms far older than any human city. You are resting within the same world that they have tended for millions of years. You are connected to the same cycles of light and darkness, the same rhythms of growth and rest. If your eyes feel heavy, let them close. Let your breath become slow and even, like the steady turning of a leaf toward the morning sun. Feel the weight of your body sinking into stillness, as though you were a seed resting in warm soil after a long journey through the wind. Release any tension in your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. There is nothing left to do tonight. The green world will continue its quiet work while you rest. Tonight, as you sleep, the plants continue their ancient rituals. Somewhere, a flower is opening its petals to the night air. Roots are threading deeper into the earth. Seeds are waiting in patient silence for the warmth of a future spring. The forests are breathing, the gardens are growing, and the world is greening itself slowly through the darkness. You are a small, warm presence within this vast living tapestry, peacefully resting among the wonders. Sleep well, sweet dreams. And may you carry with you the quiet knowledge that you are part of a world that is always growing, always reaching toward the light. This has been Drowsy Discovery. Good night.